Mohawk enters the playoffs hungry, competitive, and ready to fight for their postseason berth. Across the net, your Loyalist College, he is 4 games to teamwork, resilience, all teams long, and they are ready to defend the board in today's do-or-die matchup. The winner of today's match advances to next weekend's OCAA quarterfinals and earns a chance to compete for a spot in the OCAA Final Four Championship. So buckle up, fans, we need a great energy and bring the noise this afternoon. Loyalist College is built upon the lands covered by District 1 food wall agreement. We affirm and thank the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron nations for their continued caretaking of the land. We offer respect to indigenous peoples from all ages who call this area home. We honor traditional knowledge keepers past, present, and future. And now, fans, we now ask if you're able, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Hello and welcome inside the Lancer Dome. It's playoff action. My name's Steven Schill to bring you the action. The Mohawk Mountaineers coming to town to take on the Loyalist Lancers. If we're looking record-wise, Mohawk is coming from the West at a 9-7 record. Loyalist coming into this at a 10-6. And if we're talking about who's on a hot streak, Loyalist has currently won 4 in a row, where the Mountaineers have lost their last one. Going to be Brecken Morrison with 32 aces on the season. That's going to lead the Mountaineers coming into this matchup. Morrison with the serve. It's over. It's going to be Hill. Archibald sets Hill again. Comes right through, and Loyalists get the first points of the afternoon. And Toby Archibald's been the star of the second half, if you will. Didn't really get any playing time in the first due to an injury. Was an all-star last year in his first year. Coming to this one, see what he can do. His serve is over. It's going to be popped up by Ho. Let's set on that close side where it's just going to go off the net. Gades couldn't play it. Loyalist up 2-zip. Archibald from Aylesford, Nova Scotia. And when he gets hot, serving, watch out. Over on the side, popped up. Gades going to get set on the close side. Jirac. Right, so get a block, able to reset. Far side goes Hill again. The block's there. Blakeston able to handle it. Diefenbach, the lead and kill getter for Loyalist. Can't get it done as Andrew Majerus in his second year standing at 6'5". Puts that back. First points for Mohawk. From Sao Paulo, Marthas Goodies at the line. Nice little floater, and Sylvester gives him an ace, just firing that off the Lancer Dome, which again, next season, we will be playing in this gymnasium. There's been a new one that's been built at the front of the college. Excited to introduce that to you next season, but until then, still have to deal with the dome. Yes. Sylvester plays it that time. Archibald sets up Hill, goes for it again, and he gets the kill. Going into this matchup, Liam Hill with 170 points on the season career-wise. Hit 500 kills just a few games ago. He is lethal. Hill. There's got that. Morrison just goes back over to the side of Loyalist. Gonna give a freebie. Let's see what Mohawk can do with it. Gonna be tapped from the back row. And Gades, as we see Hill try to reach for it, and will come up a bit short. So from Markham, standing at 6'5", Andrew Majerus. Or the number 19 tied at 3. Majerus. Sylvester. Archibald's there to set up Diefenbach, who's got some power, and he finds the opening along the right side. And Diefenbach, 210 points on the season, which is leading the Loyalist Lancers. Again, Diefenbach in his first year. Saying his name a ton today is Simon Cannon. And then number 11, Gades. Morris to the side, Jirac. And Jirac capitalizes. Talking about big points on the season, Alex Jirac, and the number 17 in that point right there, 165.5 coming in today's matchup. Jirac's in his third year out of St. Catharines. Gonna go have a spitter serve here, and he misses. Quick little set down the middle from Morrison. Lancers trying to capitalize. Blakeston goes straight into the block as Brecken Morrison is there. And excuse me, they're going to overturn the call in favor of Loyalist. Diefenbach, second effort. There's a little spin from Ho. Zickery goes to the side of Loyalist, and Westerman fires it too far. Was that off on Westerman? Was that off on Archibald? We'll have to come to your own conclusions on that, but Archibald looking like he was blaming himself, the Loyalist setter. Zickery, leading point getter for the Mountaineers at 174.5 going into this one. He's not going to pick up the point there as he misses. Blakeston gets it over. Goodies tries to put it behind him. Kind of a short set, which is normally what you want down the middle, but Jirac not really able to get a swing on it. More of like a pool play as he pokes it over with some extra emphasis. So Loyalist had a 2-point lead. Mountaineers wanting to keep this one close. Again, Loyalist at 6-2 at home, while Mohawk is 4-4 will be in away. Archibald back to Westerman, trying to get that synergy going. Going to be Morrison, goes the second time to Cadiz. And Loyalist gets another. Westerman. Cadiz takes it. Behind to Jirac, and what a block from Liam Hill. As the Loyalist bench is excited, and they're going to change the call, as we just saw a second ago, to give it in favor of Mohawk. For the block, it looks like they're calling it out, and that's the reason why we have an argument, and we're going to say that it goes to the head referee there, as the Lancers are wanting to maybe have a talk with the down ref. But again, going into this one, Chris Jenkins with his 13th year with the Loyalist Lancers, and Brad McClure in his 5th with the Mohawk Mountaineers. As we see Jenkins still arguing, we're going to have the down ref now come over. Waiting to see if they overturn it again. Traditionally, we haven't had so much of a discussion on this side. Now they're going to bring over the Mohawk player, and they're going to have Archibald come over too. Trying to read some of the facial expressions here. Mohawk players laughing, so we'll see if it's a jump ball. No, okay. I was going to say, are they going to end up trying to reserve it by any means? But they're going to give it over to Loyalist, and you can tell right away. Dean Zickery in his 3rd year, and 6'1" from Burlington. Again, point leader for Mohawk going into this one. You can tell as soon as the words were said to him, his facial expression completely changed. Loyalist now up by 3. Westerman. Cadiz going to get set. And goes off the block. Count it. Brecken Morrison. Crowd is really getting loud for this one, and Mohawks missed several serves today already. Mohawk averaging 10.13 kills per set. Can they get one here? Ho. Morrison having to reach high is Jirac. Mohawk with the second effort. Goodies. Huge spin on that. Blakeston calms it down. It's going to go over to Hill. Goes off some height. It bounces off Hill's head and goes out of bounds, as Jenkins was arguing with that just for a second. But yeah, that went right off Hill's head. Right off that bounce. Must not feel good. And if you've not been to any in-person volleyball or been on the court for some of these college players, and even to high school, it comes at you quite fast. Goodies. Sylvester. An overpass. Now Sylvester gonna give it straight back. Goodies. Jirac. As Blakeston hits the deck, they're gonna call it out. So Loyalist does end up getting the point. Not too much of an argument from the side of Mohawk. A little surprised. Hill. Hose there. Yeah, straight overpass, and it's going to drop. Loyalist with a lapse of communication. Blakeston, then Cannon, and Sylvester. It's all going to let that one drop. Andrew Magirius with a turn for Mohawk to try to get some momentum to roll. Magirius. Hill, and Loyalist just keeps giving it straight back to Mohawk to work with. But it doesn't matter as they're able to capitalize. Cannon with a tip. Cannon on the serve. Goodies. They go to Jirac, and the block is there from Blakeston, who stares down Jirac. And you can see Goodies, the first-year player out of Sao Paulo, and tallest listed man on the roster, too, having a little bit of emotion of saying, oh, is that taunting from Blakeston afterwards? And that is going to have the referee come over a couple moments afterwards as Archibald from Loyalist and Zickery from Mohawk come together. And Archibald just gives a tap to Blakeston and says, enough of that. Don't know if that's going to work as well. Blakeston usually does what he wants, but we'll see. Loyalist up 13-9. Cannon on the serve, and he misses. Alex Jirac again in his third year. Spinner serve, and he gets an ace. And Jirac with quite a tumble after that as well. Oh my. But Mohawk really struggling at the line this afternoon. Four missed serves so far for the Mountaineers. Just checking with the scorers table, and we'll have Diefenbach and leading scorer for the Loyalists with 210 points today. It's not going to be an ace. We'll see what he can do on the defensive side of things as a big swing comes through from Dean Zickery. And the Mountaineers' top point getter tries closing this gap. Loyals has done a good job of not letting the game get tied and still just inching ahead throughout this series. Zickery gets the serve. Archibald goes back to Westerman. Big block on the side of the Mountaineers. Can Loyalists get it to work this time? Diefenbach puts it out. Zickery will continue. An opportunity to tie the game. Hill. Archibald going to set that to the far side. Blakeston has to work with it. Going to get back to the side of Loyalist. Sylvester turns into the center to Blakeston. Oh, diving. Now it's going to be a 50-50 at the net. Cadiz reaches over and ends up going to the side of the Mountaineers. And a quick little tap from Morrison. He's going to go out of bounds. So Loyalists pick up the point. And I guess Loyalists didn't get a hand on it as they tried blocking. Looks like it just went off the net. Blakeston. He's got quite a serve on him. not the day for serving. Felix Hunter, second-year player, misses a serve again. So back-to-back missed serves, going to be Evan Westerman, which we've seen on occasion. Chris Jenkins pull him out, even though Westerman is usually quite reliable. But previously they brought in Liam Callahan, as he's got 22 aces on the season, but we'll see if we get Callahan a little bit later. Gadis off the block and down. Gadis, the only first-year player cracking the starting lineup for the Mohawk Mountaineers. We'll see a substitution as well. See Cole Crowder come out for the starting man and Alex Jirac. And a reminder, Jirac, second leading point getter for the Mountaineers. Brecken Morrison. Absolute laser the Callahan gets. Saw an attempt at a setter dump, and now they're going to set it to Callahan. It goes off the block, and they're going to say there's a net violation against Mohawk. So Toby Archibald back to where we started this matchup and ahead by 2. Oh, Morrison, back line, big swing from Zickery, but too far. And we will see the first timeout of the home playoff game as the Mohawk Mountaineers here against Loyalist Lancers. Timeout, Mountaineers. Back to Toby Archibald. See if the timeout freezes the server at all. But Loyalist looking quite strong in this first set. And the timeout does what it needs to do. Goodess. Sylvester, Archibald goes to Hill and finds the back corner right in between Morrison and Goodess. Hard off both players' shoulder. Neither team really using their bench early. Of course, up to 5 sets played potentially today. Hill. The laser. I was able to play it. Morrison's there. Zickery gets a good bounce as we saw Liam Hill really make that extra effort. And I think that's something to watch throughout this as well. Because sometimes during the regular season, points aren't going to be that big of a deal, but for some of these riskier dives, you might see it. We're going to see Andrew Majerus get taken out the middle for Adrian Delos Reyes. He's in his 4th year and gets the serve. It's all he needs to do. Again, Mohawk's been struggling at the line. It's Blakeston's there with a big hammer down off the block. And Loyalist, again, just keeps the lead by the tiniest of margins, but that's all that matters if you're a fan of the Lancers. Cannon. Goodies. Morrison off the block. Swing from Hunter. Count the point from the Mountaineers, and a big shout out to all the Mohawk Mountaineers fans tuning in. It's always fun when you get to make the playoffs. We haven't had a men's home playoff game in a while, so exciting to cast. Hill grabs that, and there's Westerman. A save by Morrison. Jirac is now going to set Zickery. And now it's Blakeston back the other way. Does it go off the tip? And yeah, it did look like it went off a tip, and the ref is going to call that. I want to say it went off the hands of Helix Hunter, who's standing at 6'4". And the Aussie chance breakout for the first-year man, Jacob Diefenbach. Now to serve. And he misses. Zickery. Sylvester, it's going to be a 50-50 at the net. Loyalist jumped a little bit quicker, and Hope puts it off the rafters. Now Blakeston, who missed on his spinner serve early, is going to try it again, and he misses on that too. And Mohawk will make a substitution. It'll be Helix Hunter coming out for Keelan Elke. And the substitution we saw a second ago for the serve, Adrian Delos Reyes, will bring back in the front man at 6'5", Andrew Majerus, that 19 jersey. 2-point differential. Elke, Blakeston, and a quick little dump from Toby Archibald. And this is what I was wondering about before. We will see a service change of Evan Westerman coming out for Liam Callahan, who's got 22 aces on the season, leading the Loyalist Lancers. But first, timeout, Mountaineers. Coming off that timeout again, the last one, it did end up freezing the server, but we'll see Liam Callahan here, and I think in the last matchup, actually, the Loyals played here at home. He had 3 aces in a row. So if he gets them rolling here, watch out, Callahan. Goodies. Morrison in the back, and wow! What a jump from Zickery and connecting. Earlier we saw one that just skied way out from him on that back line. That one was pitcher perfect from Zickery. Morrison. Hill. Archibald back to Hill. And he wires it to the left as Hill is making a bit of an argument. And maybe it was touched, but no second mumblings about it. Loyalist 2 points away from taking the first set, but Mohawk is not wanting to let them do that. Chris Jenkins and the Lancers take their first time out of the game. Loyalist now trying to reciprocate the favor with that timeout. We'll see what it does to Morrison. Again, a 1-point game between the two. Loyalists 2 points away from taking it. Mountaineers, if they can string 3 together, they'll be the first set winners. Morrison. Sylvester puts it up perfectly to Archibald and right down the middle. Simon Cannon's there, but they're going to call the ball out. What in the world? Tied game, 23-23. Morrison, the left-hand spin is going to miss. And Loyalist is extra pumped after that one. I'm going to have to check the replay. You at home are going to be able to do so, obviously. But that ball a moment ago didn't look close to being out. But we are close to Loyalist taking the first set. Archibald, good east. Morrison puts it up to Jirac. Going to fall. Mohawk stay alive. Again, coming into this matchup, Mohawk at 9-7 on the season. Loyalist at 10-6. Loyalist is 6-2 at home, while the Mountaineers are 4-4 away. Good east. Sylvester, Archibald gets it to Diefenbach, who needs to just put it over, and it's going to drop. Wow! What awareness from Diefenbach that nobody was there in the back corner. Liam Hill tries to go for a laser and gets the first set on an ace. Loyalists go up 1-0 in the first home playoff match for Lancers men's volleyball in quite some time. We'll be back with second set action momentarily. Welcome back into set number 2. If you're just joining us late, Lancers took the first set 26-24, which gives a sign of how close this match is going to be. Well, Toby Archibald, as per usual, set to kick things off. Not too heavy of a serve, but Morrison sets that straight back to Magirius, who puts that into the net. So just like the first, Loyalist picks up the first point of the second. We'll see how both teams react coming off of that as well, because Loyalist was pumped, and especially on that one call they thought wasn't going to go their way. It's going to be Morrison straight down to Magirius, and that time he's not going to miss. It's going to be the setter for Mountaineers. Skies it. It's one thing Mohawk need to figure out. If you remove even a half, let me rephrase. One, maybe even two of their missed serves from that first set, they're in a very different position than they are right now. Hill, diving effort. And a big swing on the open floor from Jirac. Who didn't feel like he was getting set too often in that first set. Felt like more was going to Dean Zickery, but Zickery at 174.5 points, leading the Mountaineers, and then again Alex Jirac at 165.5. So basically a 10-point differential between the two. Good S. Sylvester, Archibald running to try to set that up for Blason. Knows the block's there. Goes off the tip and down. Point Loyalist. Cannon misses. Mohawk coming into today's game at 1.8 service aces per set. Well, it seems today they're just more missing than anything. Diefenbach. Oh. Morrison goes to the far side. Zickery going to wire off the Lancer block and fall out. I'll bring Jirac. To serve. And the down ref coming to talk with the head ref here. And I think the conversation is about the Mohawk bench being too far out. That's the only thing I can think of is Brad McClure goes over just to talk to them for a second. But again, in men's volleyball, the coaches are always crazy. As Westerman goes for a little bit of a tap. Morrison now going to set Jirac. It's a big swing. Diefenbach's there. Oh, back to the Mountaineers. And Zickery wires it into the block of Toby Archibald, who is flexing like a madman after that one. Blakeston deciding just to get the ball over instead of his traditional spinner serve as he missed the first two. Just a nice quick tap down from Helix Hunter. It's from Ledner, British Columbia. Manitoba, British Columbia, Australia. OCAA has got a ton of people from all over the world. Even though half of that is in Canada, but we'll just call it over the world. As Mohawk misses another serve. What is going on with the Mountaineers today? Brad McClure must not be happy with how many points they're giving up off missed serves. Westerman. Goodies. Gonna go back down the middle, and Simon Cannon with a monster rejection against Hunter. And Callahan's not going to come in for Westerman on the serve. So we'll see Evan take it. And maybe Callahan should have come in. Okay, 1,000,000,005 missed serves later. Healy's Hunter. He's going to get this one. I have faith. It's good. Archibald down the middle. Cannon off Jirac. What a shot from Simon Cannon. Just like the first, Loyalist keeping that lead just by inches. It's the setter, Toby Archibald. And another miss. So from one setter to another, Brecken Morrison with an opportunity to tie the game. Hill, Archibald goes back to Hill, knows that block's there, goes into it anyway. And the Mountaineers tie it. 8 apiece. And I think Hill called it out when it was to the left of him and maybe not even a foot away. And Hill apologizing to his teammates afterwards. You can hear the out call, but that one was nowhere near being out. Count the ace. Morrison, again, third time. Sylvester, Archibald. Up to Diefenbach, who goes sky high, but the block on the other side from Alex Jirac is there with his partner, Andrew Magirius. So Loyalist has pretty much led this entire series so far. The Mountaineers' time up by 2. Fourth serve in a row, I believe, and gets another ace. We'll see if Chris Jenkins decides to take a timeout here as the Lancers are starting to slip. Blakeston. Archibald goes to Hill. It's off the block, and there we go. Loyalist gets back into it after giving a huge run of serves to Morrison. Loyalist averaging 2.22. Aces per set. Morrison with the Gadir. And what a swing. Gadess, excuse me. So we'll send Gadess back. I'm standing at 6'6". And add another to the tally. Simon Cannon. Another miss. Gonna have to check the stats after this one. The second set is not going well for either team. On the service line, Najiris. Sylvester. It's up to Blakeston and sees that block there and holds his hand up to his brain saying, look, that's the smarts we need. Just going for a quick little roller over the net, trying to avoid that block. Loyals has gotten caught a few times with the blocking efficiencies. That's something that the Mountaineers actually do lead against Loyalists, averaging 1.88 blocks per set to Loyalists 1.51. As Jirac. That's a monster off Blakeston. And we'll see a substitution in Cole Crowder. Coming in for Alex Jirac. And Mountaineers going to their bench to try to prevent some of these missed serves as they're ahead by a couple. Sylvester. Archibald running, sets Westerman, who has to reach up for it, and the roof plays an assist. Remember, last time up, Blakeston didn't go for his traditional spinner serve, just wanted to get over the net. Will he do it this time again? Yes, he will. Good S. Morrison up to Zickery, who nets it. Good S. Up to Zickery. Gets through the block of Westerman and Hill. You could kind of see as both Evan and Liam went up there that there was a massive gap between the two. And Zickery squeezes it past. Now we'll see what he can do at the line. Sylvester. Archibald. Over to Hill. Count it. Westerman. Oh, got quite a spin on it. And Morrison is going to get set on that and get some crazy height as the set comes through on Helix Hunter. Should say Cole Crowder, excuse me. I think that was one of the substitutions as Jirac went out. Morrison turned to a hitter and Crowder into the setter. Now Hunter. Archibald, Hill. Into that block. Mountaineers needing to scramble, but it drops. Archibald. Good S. Crowder sets up to Morrison, and Morrison. Side referee is going to say that it went off the antenna. They give the point initially to Mohawk, and then the referee says or understands that they were calling it against Mohawk. So either way, Loyalist gets the point, tied at 16. Archibald skies it. We'll see Jirac back in. Crowder will take a seat, so put Morrison back at the center position, who is also set to serve. And he missed the first set. Loyalist took it 26-24. It's like each of these sets is going to go straight down to the wire. Had about 5 serves in a row. That's his first. Archibald to Diefenbach, and Diefenbach just doesn't get the angle he wanted to. and gives the Mountaineers a little bit of a cushion. And count the ace off Sylvester. Didn't even hit the lower part of the rafters. It went all the way up through. And we will now see the timeout from Chris Jenkins and the Lancers as they trail 19-16 against the visiting Mohawk Mountaineers. Coming off that timeout, again, Chris Jenkins trying to let things go, but right around the 8-10 point mark in this match, Mohawk flipped the script after trailing nonstop to being ahead. And now leading by 3. Keeping that train rolling. Morrison, Hill, Archibald back to Hill. That block's there, but he squeezes it right through Liam Hill. Hill wires it over. Zickery just kind of threw it his right hand. What a second effort from Morrison. I'm just going to dump it over. Archibald back to Diefenbach. Tries to tap that over instead of swinging because that double block was there. And great awareness from Jacob Diefenbach. Loyalists now trail only by 1 and have the serve. And counted as an ace, Liam Hill. (19-19). And he's gonna miss. Martus Gades. Sylvester, Archibald puts that back to Diefenbach, who kind of has to pivot, not get too much strength on it. Look at these from the back, and Sylvester's there, trying to roll and just take that entire impact, but second time in the past couple points that the Lancer Dome is going to have its effect on the home squad. Ace. Archibald up to Cannon, goes for a tap over. Mohawks stay with it. Archibald and Hill collide, they're still with it. Cannon's there, and what a shot! Archibald and Cannon connection. Just those quick plays down the middle, we've watched it throughout the season, whether it's Simon Cannon, whether it's Evan Westerman, right down that middle. Get those quick little ups from Archibald. It is lethal. Now Cannon from a big point to the line. And misses. Mohawk will make a substitution. Adrian Delos Reyes will come in for Andrew Majurias. He skies it. Diefenbach with quite a spinner. Zickery plays it. I don't know if that might have gone out, but a big block from Evan Westerman on the other side. Oh my goodness! So back at 22 a pop, and if you're the Mountaineers, see if there's any timeouts taken. Again, you do not want to fall behind 2-0 on the road. Again, going into this one, Mountaineers 4-4 while away. Jirac goes off a tip. Loyalist with an effort to play it. Blakeston was into that, and again, we saw a couple moments ago where Blakeston decided to go for just a tap over. Rolling shot, if you will, and that's why he's done that before, because that blocking side of Mountaineers have done quite well today. Lee Blakeston. Oh. Morrison sets right down the middle. Reaching shot from Hunter goes back to the Mountaineers side. Morrison goes up to Zickery. Sylvester. Archibald decides to go for a center dump, and wow, Jirac's there to save it. Back to Zickery. Tries a line shot. Blakeston's there for it, and then it's going to drop one, a rally, and the Lancers take the point. Blakeston gets it over. They try to do a center option. Archibald's there to save it. Sylvester just puts it straight back. Jirac with a huge high arcing shot. And Zickery there to capitalize on it. That'll bring them up to a set point as well. Blakeston, Archibald, up to Hill, off that block, and Loyalist ties it. Straight into crunch time. We're going to see Liam Callahan again going into this matchup, 22 aces on the year. Just for comparison, Brecken Morrison, who we've seen have quite a shot at 32 aces on the season, and we'll see a timeout by the Mountaineers, as it's all tied up here at 24 apiece. Thanks so much for tuning in.
I think it's me for the stadium one. Yeah, let me just check though.
24-24. Looks like Loyalist is going to make another substitution. Toby Archibald is going to get taken out from Correa Poyet de Guzman, who was the center in the first half of the season when Archibald was out due to an injury. Very interesting substitution on the side of Chris Jenkins. Two new players in. Tied game. Callahan serves over and good. Hose there. They're having a run for it. Jirac gets it back. Zickery gives a free ball to Loyalist to work with. Poyet de Guzman up to Cannon, who has to really reach for that. And there's Poyet de Guzman off the bench with a block. And we will see another timeout from Brad McClure and the Mohawk Mountaineers. Loyalists with an opportunity to go up 2-0. Callahan. Oh, Morrison running for it. Gadess is there, and Callahan tries getting there in time, but falls just a little short. And so we'll see Archibald come back in for Perea de Guzman. And Mohawk will make a substitution of their own. It looks like Keon Elke. He's going to come in for Helix Hunter, their middle. And just to serve. Elke. Blakeston. Archibald puts it up to Cannon, who has to reach forward and finds the corner. Back to set point, and immediately Mohawk goes for that substitution. Ganelke at 6'1", and Hunter at 6'4". We'll have the libero swap out anyway, so disregard all of that. Jordan Ho on the number 9 in white for the Mountaineers. Archibald. A set point on the line. Zickery. Morrison goes over to Zickery, and Zickery wanted that one from the start. You could tell, and got some nice height on it. And the one almost perfect server to the day for Mohawk. He's now seeing what he can do in a tie game. Brecken Morrison. Layson, there's a straight back, and Gadis is there. Loyalist now able to work with Diefenbach, goes off the block. Hill's there again. Mohawk now trying to make something happen with it. And Gadis is saying that he didn't touch it, but saying there was a net violation against Hill. Now it's going to be set point as Loyalists take their timeout. Brecken Morrison. Exactly who the Mountaineers want to have serving in this position. And he aces it! What a wild finish to the second set, as Loyalists led the majority of the way, and then Mohawk didn't want to give it up until the last couple points, tied it. Loyalists had a lead at a point, and then ultimately dropped it. Tied at 1 set apiece for the first OCAA men's volleyball home game. We'll be back with set 3 momentarily. Coming back into set number 3. What a contest we've had. Loyalist took the first set 26-24 with Mohawk taking the second 26-28. Again, going into this one, Mohawk at a 9-7 record to Loyalist 10-6. Loyalist was 38 for 20 on the for and against in the sets, and over on the side of Mohawk, they were 33 and 31 on that. Mohawk lost their last game of the season. Well, Loyalist has been on a 4-game win streak. Maybe just a little bit of road jitters off of that first set as Mohawk missed a ton of serves in that first set. Fair few in the second as well on the side of Loyalist too, but ultimately tied up at a pace. Basically a fresh start. Let's see who takes the third. Brecken Morrison kick things off. Blaiston, Archibald goes for a quick dump, and Morrison is there, but just within that excitement, and I think him realizing he was at the right spot at the right time, just lifted his arms sky high. And that'll go off the rafters, so Loyalist, for 3 sets in a row, start off with the first point. Archibald gets it over, Gadis, Morrison, and Majirson. Curious on that quick kill. I'll bring back the Brazilian and Gadas. Was there for that spinner, but didn't have too much power necessarily behind it, but Cannon does so. We'll see how much Loyalist tries to work down that middle. We brought it up last set using Westerman and Cannon, and has that offensive option down the middle. It's definitely one of Loyalist's strong suit as the gym falls silent for Liam Hill. He misses. Bajirius. We're tied it to a piece. It's up the serve. Sylvester, a little bit of a wonky set, but Diefenbach going to try to work with it. Bajirius. Over to Morris, and Jirac has to reach for it. Tries to curve it in. Won't be able to do so. Both teams' second final touch on both sides of the ball there wasn't the best. Cannon skies it. Well, Alex Jirac. Almost took out the referee on that one. And consistently, well, there was a lot of talk about in the Olympics that the ice wasn't the best for the figure skating and speed skating. You'd almost want to blame the gym here, but that's not a possibility. People are just missing these serves. Diefenbach. Oh, Morrison reaches up for that. Zickery does get it over, and Westerman trying to reach on that left hand, gets sent back to Loyalist. Blakeston doesn't put too much power. Gades plays it, keeps it alive. Zickery. Now Archibald back to Westerman. Zickery's there with the block. See what Lynch has decided to do. They're going to go for Blakeston, and that wall is there, and that's something that we're going to have to watch on Blakeston. He's gone into that big wall and getting stuffed by it a few times. Need to get that right angle, and we'll see if Archibald changes up potentially how he's setting too. He changes from both sides. Zickery gets the serve. Hill. Archibald goes to Westerman off that block, and everyone goes diving for it as Ho, the last man on the attempt, almost scorching into the bench. Have a little bit of floor burn. So Blakeston, again, has not done his traditional spinner serve. He's wanting the efficiency. And oh my. Sometimes simple is best. Loyalist with the 2-point lead. Blakeson. Zickery and Morrison puts it up to Gadas. And gets past the block and wall of Archibald and Westerman. Both players went a little bit too far to the right. And Gadas capitalizes. Going to be Helix Hunter. Sylvester. Archibald up to Hill. And Hill kind of staying on his feet for that. Still gets the swing over. And Gadas swings on it. Westerman's there. And Westerman really watching that throughout the way. If you watch Westerman's eye, he was watching that like a hawk. Trying to be there for the right opportunity. And Loyalists capture the point. We'll see Westerman back to service. Sylvester cleans up the floor. Westerman gets it over. It's going to be Gadas. Morrison goes straight back. And Magirius. And a quick tic-tac-toe. Brecken Morrison. Blakeson. Archibald puts it really high for Diefenbach. Gadas off the block that's there. Wow, Toby Archibald's had a couple today. They're just monstrous out of the center. Archibald. Gadas. Morrison goes to the back to Zickery. Goes for a nice little tap over. Loyalist is there to respond. Hill goes into that block. He gets over. But they're going to call Hill. Oh, excuse me. I thought they were going to call Hill on a net violation. As you can see, Hill kind of pointing at himself and then realizing the referee was calling the Mountaineers on a lift. Archibald. Oh. Morrison running for it. Having to change how he was going to set that. Sylvester ducking after he gets a palm on it. Zickery. Morrison over to Jirac. Taps it off the block. Loyalist working with it. Far side. It's going to be Hill. No way he can take a proper attack on it, so gives it over. Oh, now sets. Gadas. And now second run around. What a rally we have between these squads. Archibald sets it up to Hill and off the block, and Loyalist get the point. What a rally. I think plays like that really instill a little bit of confidence. We'll see if we get another one or if this is a quick one and done. Archibald with the laser. Gadas. Morrison puts up Magirius. Loyalist now working with it as Cannon. Now it's Jirac. There's going to be a block. Getting another rally here as you can see. Jirac's second effort and paints it between multiple Lancer players. Sylvester saying he should have been mine, but I think that ultimately that was just really, really good placement between the home squad. Gadas. Sylvester. Archibald. Cannon! Hill. Gadas. Morrison at the net. Magirius gets it. Now back to serve. Hill. Archibald puts it back up to Diefenbach, and Diefenbach, we haven't heard too much out of him today. again, walking into this one with 210 points, which is point leader for Loyalist. Traditionally, been an absolute monster and feels like we haven't seen the full impact from Diefenbach today. We got more volleyball in store. Morrison up to Zickery. Block off Diefenbach just as I say that, and quickly down the middle. Helix Hunter, the connection with Morrison. Using that middle. Now we'll see Cole Crowder come back in. As we've seen him previously. Alex Girat coming out. That's who he was replacing before. And that usually turns Morrison into a hitter and Crowder into the setter. Morrison does get some good height with that, who's in the number 15. But as you're witnessing, it's number 16, Cole Crowder, off the bench and in for the serve. Sylvester, going to be a ball that's sent straight back over, and Zickery doesn't miss. Crowder, Sylvester, Archibald up to Diefenbach and gets it off the block of Zickery. Diefenbach, Zickery. Crowder goes straight up down the middle to Hunter. And they place it out, so it'll give another effort for Diefenbach to try to work with. Loyalist with a 4-point lead. Feeling a bit more confident in this third set compared to the second. Good ass. Crowder up to Morrison, who skies it. Calling for a tip. Well, it looked like the shot was just arcing too high, and we will see a timeout from the Mountaineers and Brad McClure.
I think it was just a one-time thing.
Coming off that timeout, Jacob Diefenbach back with the serve. My name's Stephen Schill. Again, thank you so much for tuning on in this OCAA men's volleyball playoff action. Diefenbach. Zickery. Crowder going to put it up to Morrison, who has to pivot backwards. Hill sets it to Archibald, goes to Diefenbach, gets some good height, and off the hands of Morrison. There we go, Diefenbach getting a couple more touches here and there. We'll see Keelan Elke come in for Zickery, which you saw Elke before on the service side of things. And Zickery, again, the number 1 point getter for the Mountaineers at 174.5 points on the season. So quite an interesting change here from Brad McClure. But again, believe this is the biggest lead Loyalist has had throughout the entire series at 6. Diefenbach. Crowder sets it up. Elke does get it over, but now Westerman goes for a tap. It's going to be Ho, and Crowder behind him to Morrison, who's there and just wires that into the net. Morrison was arguing that I think there was a touch from Loyalist, but from my viewpoint, I think that it just tapped into the net, and so they got the 4-touch call. Diefenbach. Oh, plays it nicely. He'll be on that close side and gets stuffed by Evan Westerman. The attempt from Keon Elke off the bench, the first-year player. Gets met right away. Diefenbach. Crowder sets up Morrison. This will be his favorite option. And Loyalist is able to keep it alive. Blakeson tries shoving it to the back. Morrison now sets up the newly entered man in Keon Elke. And after the first block, is able to get that point for the Mountaineers, which we'll see a substitution here. There's a little bit of confusion on who's going to come out. It'll be Morrison. Looks like Brad McClure is just really wanting to completely change the lineup here and the vibe. Things haven't been going the way they wanted this far. So we'll also see Josh Taylor check in. But Keon Elke now back at the line. So totally different look for the Mountaineers. Trying to prevent from dropping 2 sets to the hometown Lancers. Elke. Sylvester. Archibald goes up to Westerman, and the block is there. Helix Hunter. McClure's probably feeling pretty good off those mass substitutions. Elke with a spin. Archibald back to Diefenbach, who wires it, and it's going to go off the rafters from hitting Elke's arm. Blakeston. Elke. Crowder. They set the man behind him, and De Bruin. And couple points back-to-back for the Mountaineers. Hunter. Sylvester. Going to be Diefenbach, and the block is there. But Loyalists get the point. There's the block. It's shot off out of bounds. So Westerman. Gets it over. Ho tries playing it, but it's going to be an ace. Westerman. Second efforts on the side of Mohawk. Blakeson puts it up to Archibald. It's going to be Hill. And I think maybe one of the substitution reasons from Brad McClure is to not have any of the players get 2 down. They end up dropping these points and just get a little bit of a reset because this one looks like it's going to be a wrap. But not if Loyalist misses serves repeatedly, as Westerman just does there. But we'll see Morrison come in for Thomas Guzman. And then Morrison, again, if there's a time for a couple points in a row, change the mood, it's him ready to serve. Hill is able to take that first touch, gets reset from Archibald from afar. What a set! Oh my goodness, Toby Archibald! Skied that perfectly across the whole floor. And we'll see Brad McClure and the Mohawk Mountaineers take a timeout. (23-14). What an absolute showcase here in the third set from the hometown Loyalist Lancers. Archibald on the serve. Wires it. Josh Taylor in his second year. Misses. I'll put Loyalist on set point. Hill. The laser, and again, just like the first, Liam Hill comes through on a big serve. Gets the ace and puts Loyalist in a 2-1 position to potentially take the series in the next set. What a dominant performance from this Loyalist Lancer squad. We'll be back with set 4 in just a moment. Welcome into the fourth and potentially final set. Loyalist took the first one, 26-24. Mohawk stormed back and took the second. Another close one, 26-28. And in that third, Loyalist really started to come into their own, taking it 25-15. As Westerman here to kick things off with the serve. Going to be Zickery off a big block, and they keep it in. Toby Archibald. Wow, wow, wow. What a guy. Unreal on the defensive side of the ball today. Going to be Evan Westerman. On the serve. Morrison puts it to the far back. Now Hill just goes down for the kill. Diefenbach was able to take that reception pretty good from Thomas Kuzma. We've not seen too often. It looks like Brad McClure is going to try to change things up. But just like every set so far today, Loyalist starting the game off with the first point, and now up by 2. Westerman, good S. Magirius calls for it. Loyalist does get a block, but they're able to recycle it. Morrison goes to the back of Deese is there. Westerman just falls back to play it, but it's going to just go over the head of Toby Archibald, who tries to make that jumping effort to get a second touch. Brecken Morrison. Misses. Archibald. Oh, Morrison tries to pass it back behind him. Not sure what the intent. Zickery was there waiting for it, but I think this the opportunity to try to get two hands on it wasn't there. So tried to put it back and just hoped that Zickery wasn't as far along as he was. Loyalist taking a commanding lead here early, 4-1. Archibald again. It's it over. Ho for it. Morrison running. Magirius. And Diefenbach can't track it down quick enough. Zickery. Blaiston. Going to be set up for Hill. Sees that blocks there. It's off. Oh. Got over. Hill's the option again. Archibald's there, needing some help for it. Hill's going to tap it over. It gets off of a block. Unintentionally, I believe. And Gadess fires it off the net and out of bounds. Loyalist with basically a freebie after all that commotion. Hill skies it. So Andrew Magirius. Now up middle for the Mountaineers. Misses. And if you're joining us late, that was probably the biggest factor in that first set. Misserves. Mohawk missed a ton of them in a set that ended up ending 26-24. And the series could look a lot different from just that first set. Zickery, Morrison. A shot that goes out from Kuzma. And who's not been in the starting lineup. But Brad McClure's put him in for a little bit there in the third and again here in the fourth. Simon Cannon, who's had some monster offensive plays. Set to serve. Zickery coming up to Gadess. And he puts it into the net. Loyalist looking like they're just keeping on rolling from that third set. We'll see how quickly Brad McClure takes a timeout. Just as I say that, there it is. Looks like there's going to be a couple substitutions here from the Mountaineers. And again, looking at their stats going into this game, there was a fair amount of players that had quite a significant amount of points on their bench. So definitely something not to discount here. They're going to have to get warmed up quick. Pulls over. Hill. Archibald going to have to fight for that one. Mountaineers just let him take it. Sets up Diefenbach and gets the point. Cannon. Josh. Lancers do get a block on it. They kind of just shove it back to the other side, but they shove it out of bounds. (9-4). And the Mountaineers come back. Kuzma. Layston. Archibald up to Diefenbach. Goes off the net, hose there on a diving effort. Morrison sets to Kuzma. Hills to respond. Diefenbach having to just reach up. Another effort. Josh is there. Ho. Going to be to Diefenbach. Puts it too far to the right. Thomas Kuzma gets an ace off Blaison's arm. Kuzma. Hill. Maybe set the Blaiston, it goes off the block, and there you go. Jacob Diefenbach now. Lance with a 4-point lead. Now, off the foot. And the fourth touch. Again, I think if you're the Mountaineers here, just needing to kind of come together, it feels like just their body language. They're not as confident as they once were in the first and second set. Still an opportunity and a lot of volleyball left to play if they want so. And you can see that little extra emphasis from Helix Hunter trying to get their crew rallied after the missed serve on the side of Loyalist. Keelan Elke. Sylvester, Archibald puts that up to Blaiston and passes it off the block. And some wonky plays, and nobody's really sure who needs to take it or how to get it over. I'll give a freebie to the Mountaineers, and the Tides are starting to shift the other way all of a sudden. Elke, Sylvester, Archibald up to Westerman, uses his left hand just to pass that off the block. Blaiston's there, wires it off the block, and they're going to give it to Loyalist, saying that there was a net violation on the side of the Mountaineers. Blaiston. You go to the far side to Josh. There's an arcing shot. Archibald goes for a quick dump. It's saved by Puskas. And ultimately, Mountaineers snag another. Helix Hunter. Sylvester needing some help. Diefenbach's there. Hill just drops it. Whoa, and a nice quick little tap over and some quick thinking on the side of the Mountaineers. And just as I spoke a moment ago, it felt like Loyalist, we're just going to run away with things. A couple of substitutions from Brad McClure. Some refreshed bodies on the court. And things are changing. Hill, that first reception a little bit wonky, and the set's not perfect, but Hill does get it over. Now Morrison goes sky high. Diefenbach to respond. Now Hill goes off that block, and it's going to roll and drop. Westerman. Loyalist just in the lead by 3. That's it over. It's straight back. Westerman on that first touch, and Archibald tries setting Hill, but the set's not that good. And the point goes to the Mohawk Mountaineers, and Loyalists, they look so sure, are now maybe doubting just a little bit. Coach Jenkins and the Lancers take a timeout. Still ahead by 2. Coming off that timeout, again, Brecken Morrison been the shining light today for the Mountaineers. Set the serve. Blaiston. Archibald going for a quick dump. Hose there to be able to read it. Morrison goes back to Taylor. And they're going to call a net violation on Loyalist. Hill, Archibald, gets set, wires it. Archibald. Oh. Morrison set up straight down the middle. And what a shot from Micah Dykema, who I don't think we've seen really at all today. Josh Taylor. Sylvester. Archibald pokes it back to Hill off that block. Taylor's there for it. Ho trying to keep it alive. Going to be popped over just for a second. I shouldn't even say popped over, popped up into the net. No Lancers able to play it. That energy spoke about a moment ago for the Mountaineers is coming back. As the miss serve from Taylor gives Loyalist the lead once again. Hill aces it. Can't get that one to go. And going into these matchup, Loyalist sitting at a record of 10-6, and Mohawk at a record of 9-7 in the West. Sylvester, Archibald, back up to Cannon, and there it is. And again, absolutely shocking to see here in the fourth set that the two top point getters for Mohawk are not on the floor. This Hill, Archibald to Diefenbach, and the block is there. Wow! Keon Elke. Hill, Archibald up to Westerman. He goes for a nice little tap, but Mohawk is there to respond. Josh Taylor going sky high. Westerman was there throwing his hands up, but it didn't really seem like he was trying to block it. Seemed like his hands were there. Thinking about, I want to put some pressure back as it kind of bounced off his hands and just dropped. Time to lock in for both of these squads. 17-17. Thomas Kuzma. Up to Diefenbach. Who's there? Morrison sets up Kuzma, and the block is there from Westerman and Langston. Diefenbach. Ho gets an arm on it. Morrison on the far side to Elke. Loyalist does get a block on it. And they're going to say that there was a lift immediately on the side of the Mountaineers. Ho. Morrison goes to Taylor, decides just to put it over. Loyalist able to respond here. Hill from the back line. Can't get it to drop. Chelsea Cole Crowder come in, replace Thomas Kuzma. Can watch for Morrison to turn into a hitter now instead of the setter. The side of the Mountaineers. Keon Elke. 1 point game, Loyalist in the lead, 19-18. Archibald puts it up to Diefenbach and finds the corner. Brad McClure out of his seat. Coach of the Mountaineers. Season coming down to the wire. Wayston misses the serve. Do we get to a set 5 to decide who moves on? The 6'4" man, Helix Hunter for Mohawk. Hill. Archibald back to Diefenbach. His favorite target as of late, and he gets it done. But having Diefenbach on one side and Liam Hill on the other, can't complain about that if you're Toby Archibald. Westerman. Taylor puts it high. Lancerdome doesn't play a part. Morrison tries to curve it. It's out. The side referee says that was a timeout from Brad McClure, but wow, what a way to finish things here. A little bit of confusion, but Loyals get the point, 22-19. The first home playoff game here for the men's Loyalist volleyball team. 2 points away from moving on in the OCAA playoffs. Going into the season, I don't know if we had a ton of expectations for this crew, but man, has it been fun to watch. And especially their run here in the second half of the season. Westerman on the serve. Taylor puts it up. Crowder's there, and the swing comes through, but Diefenbach in the back. Going to be Taylor who puts it out. Loyalists now 1 point away. Again, completely different lineup than what we've seen for the Mountaineers. Really realizing that they needed to do something, but Loyalist just playing so well today. Westerman. Serves over. Elke running for it. Morrison's there. Kuzma gets it over. Diefenbach up to Archibald. Knows this can seal the deal to Cannon. Off the block! And the Loyalist Lancers move on! The Loyalist Lancers move on! A huge congratulations to Chris Jenkins and the gang for continuing their run. Now at 5 games apiece. A quick little recap. Loyalists took the first set 26-24. Mohawk kept it close and took the second 26-28. Loyalists then stormed back in the fourth 25-15 and again kept that momentum going in the fourth to close things out 25-19. Hope you're feeling good because we are here in the Lancer Dome. Appreciate you so much for tuning on in. My name's Steven Schill and we will see you when we host the women's basketball game next.